Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Wow, that's the word I have. That's the word I have, Mac. And it's not just the Miami debacle, which we purposefully did not talk about off air. We want to talk about it live together. We did text about it a little bit.
That can be dangerous.
Yes. And I think wow also applies to Louisville.
Yes.
And them finally doing it, finally doing it for the ACC and beating Notre Dame. Mac, I know you had a wild weekend down there in the 305. You don't look sunburned or anything. How was South Beach?
Do you want to hear about my wild weekend? Here it goes. So first of all, I will say we were in an awesome hotel. So massive shout out to our production team there for helping us out, our operations team, and getting us taken care of. Very nice hotel that I know. Carol Stouffer's, the lady, the family that put up a lot of money, or maybe all the money, to build the indoor at Miami. She owns that hotel. So we were at her hotel. I don't think there was any dealing that went on with that, but it was just kind of a weird coincidence there. So here's my wild night. So I get there. We have our meeting. Eddie Royal and I have a very nice lunch afterwards, looking at this amazing golf course. And all I'm thinking is, I am such an idiot. I'm so stupid that I didn't bring any clubs, because we weren't on PM. Just EJ and Coach were on PM, and Mark Packer. And I was like, we literally could have played 36 holes. I mean, this is absurd. I'm very upset. And Eddie is a very good golfer, so would have been fun to get out there and play with him. But great time just catching up. And then I kind of get back to the hotel. I'm like, I'm a little tired, a little sleepy. I take a nap from 4:30 to like 7:45. Not on purpose. Like, it was one of those where you just lay down and then
that's the kind of nap you wake up and you don't know where you are. You don't know what year it is.
Yeah, you don't know what can happen. It could be 10 minutes. It could be 4 hours. You have no idea.
You're like, where am I?
And so I wake up to like some texts and all these different things. And I was just like, well, I guess I'm doing room service in Miami in my hotel for dinner. So that was my wild time. But I will say it was awesome to be there. That was my first game there outside of playing 58-0. That I had been back and a couple of Orange Bowl victories there, at least from a Miami standpoint, a little Miami standpoint. And the game was what it was, KG. Okay. Absolutely crazy. Actually, one of the worst games I've ever watched in my life. It was in terrible. Person. It was a horrible game.
Especially the first half. Oh my gosh. We are getting to that game, and we are, of course, getting to Louisville's big win. So just hold on a second. But we do have to tell you about Ingles and our wonderful sponsor here, Mac. We are excited to give you guys a little announcement. Mac, Shooting Hoops, if you're watching us on YouTube, we are, of course, a football podcast, and we will always be a football podcast, but we have a very special one-off basketball episode coming at the end of the month with our presenting sponsor, Ingles, because they are helping to put on this really exciting tournament, the Asheville Championship, November 10th and 12th. And the Clemson men are playing in that tournament along with Maryland, UAB, and Davidson. So we're going to be telling you about it throughout the month. And if you're local, if you're near Asheville, Greenville, wherever, go buy tickets. Asheville's awesome this time of year. But we just got to give people a heads up because basketball season's right around the corner, Mac.
That's right, KG. We are finally back to our roots. I'm living my dream of being a basketball analyst. It's so much fun. Wait till you see this episode, number one. But number two, go get your tickets now. AshevilleChampionship.com. We've got a fun little promo here to tell you more about the tournament. We'll be right back, and then it's all football. Here we go. College basketball is kicking off with the Asheville Championship at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, on November 10th and 12th, featuring my Clemson Tigers, Maryland, Davidson, and UAB. Tickets are on sale now at AshevilleChampionship.com. Save your spot, cheer on your team at the Asheville Championship, November 10th and 12th. Again, that's AshevilleChampionship.com. Get your tickets today.
Okay, Mac, let's get into these football games. Louisville, number 25, Louisville defeats number 10, Notre Dame 33-20, and it wasn't even that close in the second half. Now, Mac picked Louisville. Mac had an amazing week. You went 5-3, and I did not go. No, you went 5-2, excuse me. You went 5-2. I went 3-4. So you have caught up some games there. So I picked Notre Dame, you picked Louisville. But This game went how we said it needed to go if Louisville was going to win the game. Two things. This was not a grind game for Notre Dame, which is what we said Louisville could not afford. You've got to blow this thing open. You've got to be explosive. Louisville did exactly that. And then secondly, you've got to force Sam Hartman to make some mistakes. And our friend Sam Hartman did, in fact, make some mistakes. 3 picks that were all deadly. And something tells me, Mac, I'm going to pull up this stat. Sam Hartman never wants to set foot in the city of Louisville ever again. His last 2 trips to Louisville as a starting quarterback, 8 total turnovers, 6 interceptions, 2 fumbles lost.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre. And you know what's even crazier about that is I thought there was absolutely no way that it could end up like that. I thought that
we were saying it kind of in jest, right?
Right. Yes. Totally like, oh, that'd be crazy if that
like,
happened.
Remember
again.
last time.
And, remember that. And then it did. And these guys just went nuts. 5 sacks, 5 turnovers. I mean, Louisville defense went absolutely crazy. Held Notre Dame to 44 rushing yards.
That's huge.
That is bonkers. And, you know, it just made my little heart so happy for all these, what's the word I want to use here?
Golden Domers.
Proud. I don't want to be too rude, but they are what they are. They know what they are.
ACC haters?
No, not even that. Just stuck up is really the word I want to use. You know, but I don't want to be super aggressive. Help me out. What's a better word for this? Snooty, like
who are you describing? Notre Dame fans?
The Notre Dame pundits that I follow that are yes, the ACC. Yes, we deliberately destroy them all.
Yeah, the uppity Notre Dame people.
See ya, 44 rushing yards, baby. How was that? Was that fun against this brutal, defense from Louisville? Anyway, I better be quiet or careful because Clemson still has to play these guys. They better take care of business. So we'll see about that. But if they kill y'all, man, it's going to be bad for Notre Dame people. I thought that was bizarre, though. I mean, Audric Estime averaging 2 yards a rush. I mean, that was crazy to see that. And just really a fantastic performance from Louisville. Total effort. I mean, the stands were great. Yeah. The fans were great. The play calling was amazing. Execution was at an all-time high. I thought they'd have to pass the ball a little bit better than they did. 17 of 24, very accurate, but only 145 yards there. Gerard Jordan.
Turnovers. No picks for
no
Plum,
turnovers,
which is huge.
Which is ideal. And then Gerard Jordan, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a 45-yard run and maybe a 20 or 30-yard touchdown run.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was total. If you looked at just, and I love when we do this, we've had a lot of these games. If I just looked at the stat sheet and took the logos away, I would think it was reversed. Not maybe the turnovers, but the yardage and how the yardage happened. That's a huge deal. So I certainly would have thought Louisville would have had the game plan where they were throwing it for 250 plus and maybe not able to run the ball as effectively. So really impressive from the Cards. And, if you guys saw my ACC power rankings, I have Louisville at number 2. I mean, they are playing at such a high level right now. It's fun to see.
And they have more of a statement win than North Carolina. And we'll get to North Carolina, of course. But, Mac, Louisville was lit. We talked about that. That stadium was awesome, massive home field advantage. I think we've got to start really talking about Gerard Jordan as one of the better or best running backs in the country because he has been electric. And when I was watching this game, I was thinking back to week 1 when Louisville was down so big at the half to Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. And we all kind of thought that game was over. And we were thinking, oh, okay, let's keep an eye on Georgia Tech. Mm-hmm. And the culture was obviously different because Louisville came out, found a way to win that game. And now here they are, one of the top 15 teams in the country. You can tell how Jeff Brom has gotten these guys to buy in. I know it's a bunch of transfers. I know this roster was kind of remade in the offseason, but that doesn't matter at this point. Jeff Brom has these guys playing like a unit.
No, and that's what, I just had no clue. I mean, 41 new players, an entire new coaching staff. You can't predict what that's going to look like. And people that it's so
but
funny.
We did know the schedule was manageable. We did know that.
I mean, we knew if there was, any type of competency, you were going to be able to get it done. And I'm sure those coaches looked at this schedule like, okay, We got to take advantage.
Mhm.
Like, this is the year. If we're going to be, whatever, we have to do it early and often. But it is funny to me, KG. I've got some Louisville fans in my DMs, just ask me, what do you think? What do you think? And, they're like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. I looked at our roster and da 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 da. I'm like, y'all, come on. I'm like, please.
It's good to believe, but don't lie.
That's right. Don't lie. Don't lie. But going back to Gerard Jordan, I mean, this guy has been, all over 100 all-purpose yards in every game except for that NC State game where he was right at about 50 or so there, and that was just a brutal game for everybody involved. But they got out with a win, and these guys undefeated, top 14, whatever it is in the country that they're ranked now, and feeling really good. I mean, you're excited for what Louisville has to do moving forward, and just kind of looking at their schedule, looking at who they have coming up. I think it's important. Obviously, you're dealing with a struggling Pitt team, going on the road there.
Right.
The interesting thing will be, KG, are they looking ahead? Are they getting too excited? Is there any type of complacency? I hope not, but this could be a weird spot for them.
And you have your bye next.
Right.
So are you looking ahead to the bye? Are you looking ahead to some rest, maybe an off weekend or whatever it is? I think we obviously learned what we need to know about Louisville.
Yeah.
But you need to go up to Pitt and handle it and not play around with Pittsburgh. And I still stand by my take from early in the season that Louisville's schedule is not as easy as everyone says, because they still have to play a very good Duke team.
Mm-hmm.
And they still have to go to Miami.
Yeah.
And they've got Kentucky, which we all know about the Kentucky. So they still have 3 ranked teams left on this schedule.
Right.
So
100%.
It's not like it's complete cupcakes here.
Yeah, no, I think the biggest deal was obviously the ACC play, missing North Carolina, missing, FSU and Clemson there. But yeah, I mean, in totality, anytime you have Notre Dame and a ranked SEC opponent, I mean, it's not easy sledding by any form of the imagination. So excited for these guys, jacked up for them. Like you said, we learned everything, that we kind of need to know. Everybody was kind of asking me, should Louisville be ranked? This was obviously a week ago, before they were. And I was kind of like, I think after this game, will really be the kind of, they do. And exactly how they played there. So glad they're getting their love and continue to see how they can grow and change and even get better, KG.
Without a doubt. Jeff Brom has already elevated this program like we thought he would, probably even more so. And I want to say one thing about Notre Dame. I saw someone tweet this and I thought, that's it. That's exactly right with Notre Dame. It can be exhausting every week being the other team's Super Bowl. And I feel like eventually you take punch after punch, especially on the road, and it's just going to be tough. Now, Louisville was the better team. Don't get me wrong. That was obvious. But Notre Dame goes to Duke. It's their Super Bowl. They had Ohio State before that. I mean, the schedule's been kind of brutal. And now they're going to Southern Cal. So it adds up for Notre Dame. They weren't good enough to win that game, no matter what. But I do think there's an element of that where you get every team's packed stadium, right?
Sure,
you get every team's juiced up fan base.
Yeah. It stinks, and it sucks that they don't
I'm
have
not
anything
saying
to
I
play
feel sorry for them at all.
It stinks. There's nothing to play for. Probably no New Year's Six, no conference championship. Have fun in your holiday bowl, whatever it is. That's an ACC bowl. I'm being rude to one of our bowls. I don't.
They might end up there.
Yeah, who knows? Fill that void. Fill that void for us. You got it. Thank you for being a ACC card holder member.
Yeah. Thank you for being a friend. Okay, Mac. I have to know all of your thoughts. I have to know your entire experience in Miami for this football game. Georgia Tech beats number 17 Miami 23-20. This is the one pick I actually really got right that we were different on this week, because Georgia Tech was better than the Bowling Green situation, obviously. And Miami coming off a bye. How serious are they going to take Georgia Tech? The first half was hideous. The first half, it did not look like Miami was super locked in, ready to go. And Georgia Tech didn't score either. Then we get to the second half, and I'm going to tell you just from my experience what happened. We had gone to the Clemson game. We had been out all day with the baby, etc. So Miami gets that first down with like 2 minutes to go. And I'm like, we're done. Turn off the iPad. I'm going to sleep. This is over.
It's a great call. It's a very easy call, yeah.
Miami's going to be completely fine. I'm sure people all across the nation did that, Mac. Then I wake up. My son starts screaming at 5 a.m. because he is always hungry. And I go to feed him. I am checking my phone as I am feeding him. And I see Miami lost the football game. I was shocked. Mac, you were there. Take me from your vantage point of this egregious coaching mistake for Mario Cristobal to not take a knee.
Yeah, very bad. I do want to start at the very beginning of that, though, because here's the deal. On radio, I was 100% with everything that you said. I said, there's no way. This is way too many points.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech's going to be ticked. They're going to respond. Miami's going to be sleepy. I was 1,000% with you. And then, as all things happen, I start doing more research. I start getting excited. I start loving Miami. And I'm just like, oh, these guys are going to run for 1,000,000 yards and run this thing up. And so that's why I, like an idiot, picked them in this one on our podcast here. So I did
Mac,
get
you
on
were not
radio.
an idiot. You went 5-2 this week. You're allowed to make a mistake.
It would have been nice to. I also picking Clemson might have been dumb. There we go.
Yeah,
So there we go.
We'll get
Tigers,
to that.
My Tigers bit me. I'm trying to set the stage or think about the stage because we were literally sitting on our desk about to do the show, and it was kind of awkward because we're on the Georgia Tech sideline.
Oh.
And the athletic director's right there. Other personnel are right there. And we're like talking about, oh, yeah, we're going to ask Mario this. We're going to ask Mario that, blah, 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 blah.
So had you already basically talked to the SID and had Mario lined
It was
up?
all done.
I'm guessing.
Everything was done.
Right, exactly.
Everything was done. And because the game is over. There is zero chance that these guys, anything happens. And so then we're looking at the clock, and I'm just sitting there like, why are they in shotgun?
Yes.
Why are they taking a knee from the shotgun? And then they run it, and I'm like, don't like that. This is weird. And then he fumbles, and we're just like, there is no way that just happened. And we're all just looking at each other like, why did they not take a knee? Like, what? There is no reason. No reason. And I don't want to be
it's a simulation. We're all in a simulation.
It's a glitch. There was a massive glitch in the simulation. I don't want to be like rude, and there's been a lot of people saying a lot of derogatory stuff, but that was a horrible, like, just bad. It was bad. Like,
there's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
Not say that.
This dude's been coaching for 13 years. Like, I don't know. I don't know what the
Mac,
thought
is there
process
any,
was.
for your knowledge as being a guy who played, is there any way that they said take a knee and TVD called out of it?
No.
Why? Yeah. Why would that happen?
Heck no. What should have happened
the
is
staff called a
it.
run play.
He should have called into it. TVD
he should have audibled out of it.
That, I mean, and not really. I mean, he's got to do what he's told. But
I don't know. I look at the sideline and be like, what?
I can say this with all honesty. And again, I don't want to be super negative because it sucks. It just is what it is. That was the worst football decision I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, ever. And what's fascinating, KG, is I think back the last 3 weeks, there have been games that have been lost because of coaching decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it is so evident this year more than most, it feels like to me. Florida State, Clemson, you don't run it on 3rd and 1, and you lose the game, essentially. Mm-hmm. Duke running prevent defense on 4th and 16 instead of heating them up, lose the game. And then this one's the most egregious, like, by far. The others are whatever could happen. This is, like, very silly. I've never seen anything like it. Never.
But here's the crazy part, Mike. They fumble it, and then Georgia Tech makes 2 incredible plays.
So now let me walk you
how
through
was that?
So, first of all, there's like jubilation on the sideline when the fumble happens. And we're all just like, and so we're seeing everyone's cheering, everybody's going crazy. And we're just like, okay, this is going to be interesting. And, when
here's the thing. As a fan, you still don't think Georgia Tech's going to win.
No. You think it's over.
You just don't.
Still. It's like, okay, well, this is weird. Now it's, the game's going to take longer to get to us. And, Haynes drops back and throws that ball, which, by the way, was this close to getting picked off.
Yep.
Like, just drops it right over the top. And we're just like, they've got a shot now. Like, there is a legitimate shot.
But he doesn't get out of bounds. So now they're
doesn't
sprinting
get out of bounds. They got to hurry
to
up,
the line.
get it down, whatever, because they don't have any timeouts. That's the other part of the equation. The game was legitimately over. So they get up there, run the play, and KG, I kid you not, I'm sitting there watching the receivers, and when I saw scramble drill and that young man put his foot in the ground and went right, I was like, oh, shoot. Like, he's wide open.
He's open.
Like, he's
open.
It is over. And Haynes, like, it was one of those moments. I don't know how I did it, but it was just like back and forth. Like you're looking at everybody, and Haynes like gripped the ball like he was about to rip it, saw how wide open he was, and just totally changed and just floated it like a basketball. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that was insane. Everyone's going crazy. Sidelines erupting. We're all just sitting there like, this is nuts.
Did that just
Because it literally happened right in front. The guys are sprinting by our stage, all this stuff. And it was so much fun. But then there's still a chance. Then they have to line up with 1 or 2 seconds left and kick off, which there was some drama in between. They didn't kick a field goal. They took a knee. Then they're kicking off, and they kick it out of bounds.
Oh,
nobody.
Remember, I'm asleep.
You don't even know
I'm asleep.
They kicked it out of bounds, KG. Georgia Tech just has to put the ball in play and the game is over. They kick it out of bounds at like the 40. It wasn't even a good kick. It was at the 40-yard line. So Miami.
There's a shot.
This is so crazy. Nobody wanted to win this game. Nobody. Miami has a chance. And I'm even more ticked about this than the knee. They tried to do this razzle-dazzle play that took 5 minutes. Because everyone's like throwing the ball all around, then someone gets jacked up at the end of it. But why not take a shot downfield with Colby Young?
There's no way you
receivers?
can be more mad about that than the knee. There's no way.
You're right. Not that mad, but that was essentially no shot. Why not drop back and toss it with your great quarterback?
Right.
It was so dumb. It's just the ending of the game was bizarre, but the finish, I mean, honestly, it's miracles. That's what miracles are.
It was a miracle. Miracles for Georgia Tech.
It was crazy.
But here's the thing, Mac. With all that went down at the end of that game, the way the game played out, Miami really did not deserve to win that game.
Heck no.
Like, they didn't play well enough.
No. Neither
they
of them.
were going to escape.
Should have been a tie.
Well, as a team that was a 21-point dog,
sure.
Georgia Tech.
Sure.
The fact that they were about to win it.
How many yards? Let me look up this team stats real quick. I think Georgia Tech had like 100 yards.
Controlled the game, especially the second half.
Maybe. Oh, the stats aren't even up here. What are we doing? ESPN.
Yeah, the box score's not pulling up for this game. This game is so broken.
Mario's
the box score isn't even online.
Coach Cristobal is trying to just eliminate this game.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I was looking at it, Georgia Tech had like 100 yards. I mean, it was not good. This was a awful, boring game.
It was bad.
And they found a way to win. And Coach Key, dominant on the road. I don't think he's ever lost against a road-ranked opponent, ever.
Never lost.
And it was fun to talk to him. I mean, the emotion, the passion.
Yeah.
That dude, I mean, it's...
And to bounce back, Mac, to get your locker room back after the Bowling Green debacle.
They fired their D coordinator. They fired the D coordinator in the middle of the season. I mean,
your guys could be like, we've ruined our season. Like, what do we even have to play for? Yeah. But obviously that was not the problem. You'd think like it would be a great win for Georgia Tech if they didn't have the Bowling Green disaster. It's still a great win. Where does Miami go from here, Mac? If you're in that locker room, how do you emotionally, and you have UNC this week.
Yeah.
How do you emotionally put that behind you? That would be so brutal.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. First of all, Coach Cristobal's flushing. I hope ultimately, like, he goes into that meeting or whatever it is and just literally says, we messed up. We lost you the game. We're sorry. That was totally on us. You guys did what you should have and could have. Willie or won't he? I don't know. But should. I mean, that would help, I think, with guys kind of moving on. It's like, well, it's over. There's nothing we can do. And then you just kind of relish in the fact that you have an unbelievable opportunity on Saturday night, primetime, against one of the best teams in the country. And let's spoil their season. Let's mess up what they've got going. That would be the ultimate go ACC moment. Because I kid you not, EJ and I were talking about for a week that this was going to happen. That Georgia Tech was going to embarrass the league, lose to those guys, and then beat Miami at home when we're there in prime time with Stephen A. Smith. It's unbelievable.
It's college football. Here's the good news, though. Miami fans. I know we've got some Miami fans who watch our pod. We appreciate you guys. The season's not over.
No.
It's not over. You win the league with one loss, especially a fluky loss. The committee understands.
Yeah.
You're fine. I mean,
you
honestly, you didn't play very well, but you should have won. The committee sees that. You run the table. You beat Florida State. You win the ACC. Maybe you beat Florida State twice. You're in the playoffs. So your season's not over.
Yeah.
I think we got to be clear about that.
No
But
question.
this does not help you.
No,
but it's not over.
I don't know if this does count as a quality loss. I don't think it does. You know how I feel.
Well, you lost to yourself.
Exactly. Maybe
you lost to yourself, and you're ranked.
Loss. It's a ranked loss.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Just baffling. Just baffling, Mac. Unreal. That's college football.
It was.
It's college football.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of college football, let's get to this North Carolina game because this is the game I was so wrong about, and I'm happy to be wrong. Number 14, North Carolina beat Syracuse 40-7. And Mac, this is how I know that people are watching the pod because I had so many North Carolina fans coming at me.
Yeah, they're mad
in
at
my
you.
mentions on Twitter.
Yeah. First
of all, after Tez Walker was freed, they said, do you still want to have Syracuse to cover? And I stuck with it. I said yes. Again, terrible decision. And then I guess I said this. I looked back at my notes. I didn't have this in my notes. So if I said this, I was definitely wrong. I talked about how North Carolina had not been good against the spread. They've been very good against the spread. The only game they didn't cover was App. So if I said that, I was wrong for sure. And they cover again, Matt.
Yeah.
This was the kind of performance we've been waiting for from Drake May.
Yeah.
33 of 47 for 442 and 3 touchdowns. He was perfect.
Yeah.
And these receivers, and they ran the ball well too. It was just, you can't ask for much more. And the defense was great.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, they went for, quick math, 644 yards. I mean, that's crazy.
Against a conference opponent.
Right. Conference opponent who, again, has had a pretty good defense, throughout this entire, season, this last couple of years, the run that they've been on. And they were electric. I mean, Drake, I don't know if we've seen him play better than that, quite frankly. I mean, the throws that he was making, the decisions that he was making, ran the ball well, just really slinging it all over the yard, getting a bunch of people involved. I mean, almost had 300-yard receivers, and got his guy Tez going. I mean, it was fun to watch, quite frankly. And he was just, it was like poetry in motion. The throws he was making. Kobe Paysor had a really sick catch, kind of like that one-handed behind him. He's got to bail his guy out. Nate McCullum had a diving post, I think for, close to 50 yards or something of that nature. Just really impressive stuff. I mean, from this entire team. And I think they're getting better. And certainly we get to see that Saturday night against Miami at home here. Just a good indicator always, right? Like, here's the deal. Miami's going to be up for that game. They're going to be ticked off about this one, and you're going to get their best, kind of swing here. And what are you able to do? What things are you able to get really going? But I've loved what I've seen from UNC. Really, Florida State, UNC, Louisville are playing at such a high level right now. It's fun. It's fun to have all three of those.
UNC, there's not much to analyze because they were so good.
Yeah.
There's no complaints here. They were exceptional. And you could argue Florida State has the best win, maybe. Louisville now is the best win with Notre Dame, I would say. But Florida State has the LSU win. So you've got those statement wins. But North Carolina, you could argue, has been more challenged week to week.
Right.
Their schedule, they haven't had a week where they can just kind of lay back.
Yeah.
Now, Syracuse, of course, they destroyed them. And Minnesota, they won that game pretty easily. Pitt, they ended up winning it pretty easily, but they were on the road. App, of course, was crazy. They have been challenged kind of every week of the year.
Right.
And that's impressive to me. North Carolina has been very consistent. And that was the big issue with them last year. That's what Mac Brown was telling us.
Yeah. And I mean, when they're playing these Power 5 teams, they're blowing them out. I mean, it's been impressive to see, again, the App State deal. It just is what it is there. Yeah. But I mean, these guys killing South Carolina, Minnesota, Pitt, and Syracuse now. It's impressive. The consistency is impressive. Again, when you have a high-level quarterback like that, it was kind of like, okay, let's see some stats. Let's see some touchdowns. Boom.
And he said, okay.
Yeah, got you. Heard that. Here we go. So very impressed, like I said, with North Carolina, and think they're a really good team. I mean, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, they are. All right, more UNC Miami coverage coming this week. We have a UNC guest on Wednesday, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that one. Mac, another game here with a very good team. We just mentioned Florida State. Florida State handles their business against Virginia Tech. They beat Virginia Tech 39-17. Virginia Tech does cover. And we did tell you that they would. So now barely, all right? It was close. Barely. But Virginia Tech did cover. Florida State dominates that first quarter, 22-0.
Quick.
They do not look like they're coming off a bye.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech does not look like they're coming off a win. Virginia Tech claws back into it. They had the kickoff return, which was pretty impressive. But overall, I just thought Florida State, they maybe let Virginia Tech back in the game a little bit, but still, they dominated this game. Florida State looked really good. And Trey Benson was a monster. That was, 200 for this guy. That was, what was his yards per carry, Mac? Oh my goodness.
20
yeah,
something.
20 something.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Big game for him.
It was fun to watch. And that's what, that's what you want to see, because we had been talking about, he doesn't really look himself. He's kind of hesitant as he's running through holes. Not today. Not in this game. He wasn't. He was killing guys. Had an 85-yard touchdown. I think had a 60-yard touchdown run there, and just really effective. And fun to see, because he's an excellent player, super explosive, and just hard to tackle. I mean, he's such an electric guy. And then Jordan just casually operating the offense. Throwing the ball up to Johnny Wilson, who did get hurt. Interesting and something that we'll have to follow there to see how he's doing. But I mean, these guys, whatever they wanted on the ground, they were able to get it. 282 yards rushing. Again, 200 of that coming from Trey Benson. So these guys playing at a high level have Syracuse again, who just limping right now.
Brutal. And Syracuse, this is a classic Syracuse October,
it is,
right?
It is.
Just brutal schedule.
Yeah, your reward for going, 4-0, 5-0, whatever it is Clemson, North Carolina, FSU, back to back to back. So have fun with that. And we'll see what you do on the other side of it. It'll be interesting to see. But, I think these guys continue to roll. I bet we see them run the ball at an extremely high clip again this coming Saturday.
Were any concern for you, Mac, with A, the 12 penalties that Florida State committed, or B, that they did give up 200 rushing yards to Virginia Tech?
Yeah.
Any concern there?
I think obviously penalties is something you can certainly control and try not to, be affected by that. The rushing, it was something.
A lot of it was drones.
Exactly. 80 of it was drones. And we kind of thought that was going to be an issue. And there was some chunky plays. There was a 40-yard run. There was a 30-yard run. Again, I kind of look at those as outliers, right? Because, when you see that, for the majority of the game, you're doing work and you're doing what you're supposed to do. And then a guy eventually pops, like stuff like that happens. So I would say no. I wouldn't say a big concern.
Okay.
I mean, this was good to see. Now, maybe would you like to see them, not have a 0 in the score column in the second quarter and continue to push down the hammer? Yes. Where kind of momentum did a big shift, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh,
it did.
Are we watching the Boston College game again? Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And then they responded nicely in the third, scoring 10 points and capped it off with a touchdown at the end there. So I don't think so. No concern. I think these guys continue to play better. This was probably one of their more close to full games, but not quite complete. I think, again, there's still another level we can see from Florida State.
Yes, I agree. Something I didn't mention when we were talking about Louisville, a weird quirk with the schedule is that Florida State, North Carolina, Louisville are all undefeated, and none of them play each other.
It's the Matrix.
For the rest of this season. And I saw someone else tweet this, Mac. We're going to see more of this with these super conferences, where because you only have so many games. Now, this just happened to be this way this year in the ACC,
right.
But that's going to be fascinating to see. You're not going to get that head-to-head tiebreaker, so every single game counts. You cannot slip up.
Well, it's actually the ACC did that on purpose so they could have the most undefeated teams.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so all on purpose.
Genius. So well done.
So smart.
I mean, when you can see the future, makes a lot of sense. Mac, one more game before we get to our speed round, and this is the Clemson game. Clemson beats Wake Forest 17-12. I said this to you off air, and I'm going to stand by it. I think this game was more embarrassing for Clemson than the Duke loss. And it's pretty simple because Duke's good. Yeah. And anybody who watched Clemson Duke could see Clemson. Now, the fumbles were embarrassing because it's like, what are you doing? But obviously, Clemson was better than 28-7. I'm not saying they're better than Duke because they didn't beat them. But this game, the offense just looked inept. Yeah. The defense played great.
Yeah.
I thought the defense did its job. But you've got an offense that could not put together sustained drives.
Right.
Could not do it.
Right. And just
against Wake Forest, who we don't think is very good.
Right.
Mac.
I mean, yeah, 100%. And just kind of looking at their, plays here, 3-and-out punt, 2-play fumble, 3-and-out punt. then a touchdown.
Another fumble with
know.
Cade and Shipley in the exchange.
It drives, and it should have been a pull. It was 100% a pull. Don't know why he didn't. I mean, he would have had a ton of yards. So then you score. You go on a 16-play drive. Look awesome. Really effective. Big chunky 7-minute drive capped off with a touchdown. Punt, field goal, missed field goal, punt, touchdown, end the game. And you're just like, this is so brutal. And it was weird. Like the play calling was like a perfect mixture of what we've seen recently, which we get really excited about, and then going back to Duke. And you're just like, what is happening? Like, I thought we were done with all this. It's like this weird paradox that you're watching here. And I think there's a couple of reasons for it, of guys not being effective. But, I mean, Cade averaged like 3.5 yards of completion. I mean, that's not 4.5. Excuse me. I don't want to take a yard away from him. That's not good, right? Like throwing the football. Shipley's average. Let me pull this out again. See what he was averaging per rush. He's averaging more per rush than you are per throw. That's not good.
Well, and that's why you keep giving the ball to Shipley.
Right.
Shipley was the only reason Clemson won this game. Why? It felt like the Florida State game and even the Syracuse game. This offense looked a lot more unleashed, looked a lot more creative. You're taking shots downfield. You're trying different things. None of that against Wake.
I don't know. Weird.
It's so puzzling.
The inconsistency that we're seeing from these guys is just frustrating. And it's on a lot of different accounts with the, coaches, players, guys making plays, guys not making plays, turnovers, situational, all these different. It's a weird thing. And I'm sure there's a million, kind of thought processes out there as to why that is. And what's wrong, what's not wrong, all these different things. But, you just have to figure it out. I mean, there's promising players all throughout this roster. I mean, the things that you're seeing, the guys that you have, but it's just like story of Clemson's life these last 3 years. It's not everybody the same game, and everybody's not on the same page every single time. I mean, I remember doing film study 2 years ago, when we're breaking down games, and it was like a 12 or 11, play stretch. On every single play, there was someone else doing something wrong. And you're just like, what is happening? What is going on? This is so weird. So
where does that come from, Mac? What is that?
I mean, I don't know.
Is it coaching?
I don't know. It's weird. It's details. It's guys not paying attention. I mean, there's a lot of different things. And again, I think that Clemson fans have kind of their 10 hats on and have their different conspiracies for what it is.
Everybody's mad.
But you got to win. And, Coach Sweeney ties Frank Howard for the most wins ever in Clemson history. Ironic enough, that was against a team that I think that was his first one ever, Wake Forest, and being celebrated there. I'll have to look that up to confirm even more.
No, the Wake game was the game that got Bowden fired.
Got him fired. Okay, so there you go. Got him fired, then he wins and it becomes the all-time leader against them, or tied for it at least. So that's kind of interesting. And then, the offensive line play has just, it's been tough, KG. I mean, guys aren't getting pushed in short yardage. And I know a lot of people want me to speak out on this and maybe be negative, but
poor Mac. Everybody goes to Mac and says, Mac, what is wrong with the offensive line?
It is tough.
Mac can't fix it, guys. He can't fix it.
And here's the deal. When they're like, man, can you go coach for it? Why would I want to do that? So you can say that dumb crap about me whenever that would happen, if that would ever even happen. And here's the deal. Thomas Austin's a lot smarter than I am. That's just the honest truth there. So they just have to figure things out, KG. I don't think there's any doubt that this defense is really good and playing at a high level.
Yeah.
And I don't have any doubt that this offense can. They just are very inconsistent right now, and that's painful to watch. It really is.
It is. Here's what's so interesting about Clemson. Is this roster as talented as the national championship rosters? No, I don't think so. But did they almost beat Florida State? Should they have beaten Florida State?
Right.
Yes. So it's talented enough, right?
Yeah.
It's talented enough to win the ACC.
Yeah.
And you're not getting that out of these guys.
Right.
And to me, I think that ends up falling on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, you're the one that assembled the roster.
Right.
You're the one that chooses to not use the portal. So I think that's where a lot of the frustration lies with Clemson fans, and it's with this coaching staff, I think.
Yeah. It's tough. You got a lot of younger guys, a lot of inexperienced guys, and, a lot of people pointing fingers.
Can't lose the bye week.
From the outside. I'm not saying the coaches or players are doing that, but from the
Right,
outside.
right,
And
right.
yeah, can't lose the bye.
Can't-
Can't lose the bye.
Can't lose the bye.
Don't have anything crazy
Clemson
yet.
probably needs a bye. And maybe a little bit of looking towards the bye for these guys.
Maybe.
Because they played well against
Hey,
Syracuse.
Whatever you want to blame it on, we can do it.
They played well against Syracuse. All right, let's run through our speed round. Last 3 games here. NC State beats Marshall. And they cover, Mac. We love to see it. They win 48-41. MJ Morris era is here. And the offense, I didn't know NC State was capable of scoring 40 in a Power 5 game. I like this. I am very excited for NC State moving forward. MJ Morris, rough start. First throw is a pick. 2 picks in the first quarter. But Mac's going to tell us, not his fault. I agree. Yeah. And he bounced back, didn't let that affect him. Some concerns with the defense here, but I think it was just a lot of these picks putting the defense in a bad position. Yeah. But overall, this is good news for NC State.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And again, you mentioned those picks. It was funny. We're doing TV and doing these different things, and I come back and I look at just kind of the stats to get caught up to where we were because Marshall was winning. And I see MJ Morris 0 for 1 and a pick. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is not good. And then you go back and see it and watch it, and I mean, just goes right through his receiver's hands, and just a brutal start. And I'm sure the crowd was ticked, and everybody's just like, "Here we go again," with whatever. Then you fast forward a couple of plays, and after a great drive touchdown, really responded nicely. Then they get the ball back, high snap, he's jumping to the right, blind throw to the left, and I don't know what the heck those receivers are doing. Nobody's blocking, pick 6, and you're just like, "This is terrible. This is the." Most unlucky start imaginable. But as you said, he responded, was fantastic, threw the ball really well. And again, a lot of these, points, 21 points off of turnovers for Marshall. So you take that away, you feel much better about it. They threw it 51 times. I mean, this is a team that wants to run the football, and NC State relatively stopped that, which was impressive to see.
And stopped Ali.
Right. But when you throw it 51 times, you're going to get some good completions, and they threw it for 50 times and 300 yards. So, it is what it is. If you can take something away and they can beat you with your arm, great. You deserve to do that. But they got the dub, and it was impressive again to see. These guys going. I thought they ran the ball better. Still have a big ways to go there, but NC State, man, it's only one ACC loss. You got your quarterback that you feel better about. The receivers played much better. I mean, you got a guy going for
Concepcion,
freshman going for 100 yards. Trent Penix going for close to 100 yards. I think he's the ticket. I mean, that's kind of the factor that we even asked Coach Dorn about, and he's like, hopefully, maybe. And if we see more of that, I feel really good about it.
Yep, I agree. Mac, I'm going to say something crazy that I did not think back on September 2nd when this team lost in overtime to Northern Illinois. Boston College is making a bowl.
Oh.
Now, I think I said that about Georgia Tech right before they lost to Bowling Green, so take that with a grain of salt. Boston College are making a bowl. They beat Army 27-24. We're going to talk about the game. Castellanos, it was rainy. It was gross. Yeah. Castellanos got it done. I think I saw a stat. He's the only FBS quarterback with over 500 yards rushing.
Wow.
Which is really impressive.
First. I know he's in first with 500. Yeah. I don't know if he's the only one.
But Mac, they're making a bowl. They've got Georgia Tech. They've Connecticut, Syracuse, Virginia Tech, Pitt, Miami.
Let's play win game. Let's play win game right now.
Beat Connecticut.
Georgia Tech, win or loss?
I think they lose to Georgia Tech.
Really?
It's at Georgia Tech.
Okay.
Coming off that win for Georgia Tech. It's actually a bye week for both these teams. Beat Connecticut. So they're 4-4. Yep. At Syracuse, lose.
Really?
4-5. Virginia Tech at home, win. 5-5. Beat Pitt on the road. 6-5.
Wow.
Lose to Miami. 6-6. Get you a bowl game, Boston College.
Can I give you a scorching hot take?
Yes.
They're bowl eligible in the next 3 games.
They beat Georgia Tech, Connecticut, and Syracuse.
EJ. Eddie Royal said verbatim, Thomas Castellanos is the most exciting player with the ball in his hands in the ACC.
Okay, I'm glad he said exciting. If he was going to say best, we'd be a little confused.
But
exciting,
might have said best
I agree.
At first, and I looked at him so sideways, like, what'd you just say?
Yeah.
And then maybe he adjusted it, or maybe I misheard him.
Mac, he's must-watch TV.
He is, and that's important.
He's fun to watch.
That's important. I mean, 4 rushing touchdowns, nearly 150 yards.
Crazy.
And you know what's even funnier? I compared Boston College and Alabama together on TV, on national TV,
Oh my
because
gosh.
they're both figuring out how to use their quarterback in this situation. They're
True.
not used to this situation where you've got a really killer athlete that can absolutely kill people with his legs, can also figure it out with his arm, and they're having to adjust, and they're having to do the things necessary to win games, in both hitting a little bit of stride. Now, one is significantly different than the other, but it's a very similar situation.
Both are bowl teams,
Both
Matt,
are bowl teams. That's what I see.
in our minds. Well, and also Garwo rushed for 111. I mean,
Love to see
BC
that.
ran the ball super well. I saw a tweet before the game. Christian Mahogany, our guy, he tweeted a picture of him and Castellanos and said something like, "That's my QB," or something like that. So this team is figuring it out. This is why college football is a long
Oh, yeah.
season, and Boston College is finding a way to
Yep.
win
And you love it.
and
You love to
perhaps
see it.
make a
You
bowl.
love to see it.
We love to see it. Last one, a team that's not making a bowl but did win, Virginia. They beat William and Mary. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
That's all I got.
Praise the Lord. They got it done.
Good to see.
And it didn't look good at first. It didn't look good.
No,
Let me
it did
let me
not.
pull up what it was. It was Kelly.
It
I
did
was
not.
watching this and I was like, no way that this is about to happen.
No,
I think
no. Someone tweeted at me and said, "Kelly, you are very uninformed. William and Mary is a very good FCS team."
They
And
are
I was
good.
like,
they lost to Elon last week.
I
They
hear
lost to
you.
Elon
Like
last
it's
It
concerning.
was 13-3, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is really about to happen." But then
Yeah,
Virginia went on to score 17 unanswered. Great to see.
thankfully.
Our guy Tony
Thankfully.
Muskett slinging the ball all over the yard. They ran the ball exceptionally well, 220 yards rushing. Hopefully there's another one, but maybe not. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see. Good job, Virginia.
we will see.
Happy for you.
UNC Miami this week. That's our Wednesday episode with a UNC player. So stay tuned. And then, of course, much more to come for the weekend. But thanks for
That's
tuning
right,
in.
KG. Appreciate you guys. We need you to go over to YouTube. Jump in on this party. You got to see the faces that KG makes of me when I have some of my hot takes. It's a lot of
Exactly.
fun over here. And we're
I have an expressive
very
face.
expressive.
It's
Very
true.
expressive. We also need you to go over to Apple Podcasts, the OGs, rate, review, subscribe over there as well. We would greatly appreciate that. And of course, a big thank you to our friends over at Ingles. Couldn't do this without them. But until next time, we'll see y'all.